What is good, YouTube? Quinn Wade, basketball analysis, coming to y'all with a quick video. We're going to cover free agency today. We're going to talk about some deals that have been made. Sekou Demboya got traded from the Pistons. They gave up on him already. I told you guys he'll be released from the Nets. He has. Now he's on a two-way deal with the Lakers. I don't really think it matters that much because he's not going to play that much on a team like the Lakers. He can be a prospect that they can develop, but I don't see it because they're going to have veterans on his roster. He most likely will be waived in the future for a guy that's going to be bought out and join the Lakers, so I don't see him staying. Ed Davis has been bouncing around, barely making a roster. He signs with the Cavaliers, same with Justin James. Those guys won't have huge roles on the team that you sign with, and may not even finish the season with them on the roster with the Cavaliers. Watson gets signed by the Hawks, not going to play a lot. Cavaliers, they waive a bunch of guys. Can't really blame them because they wanted to try some other people out. Terance Mann, Clippers agreed to a 2-year, $22 million extension. He's going to get more playing time. He's going to get more chances to produce. Why not lock him up early just because it's not that much money? He proved that he can score and play at this league. He stepped up in a big moment in the playoffs that helped them get further in the playoffs. I see him being more of a quality player for him. And it's not a long extension, not long term. And you still have flexibility, and it will be tradable. So it makes sense to lock him up now, especially because he almost was a free agent. Jahlil Okafor was waived by the Hawks, which I told you guys that he won't stay on the roster the entire year or even a couple months. He's already waived. Luka gets waived by the Spurs. Daniel Toro, he was a project. A lot of teams wanted to try him out. Now they done gave up on him, which is the Bulls. Same with Ethan Thompson. Ethan Thompson might not be able to stay in the league. We'll see if he can find another roster to fight for and possibly make an NBA debate. Jeremy Tillman got waived. Same with John Teskey. Daquan Jeffries agreed to a partially guaranteed deal, which means he's waivable. If they find somebody that they want to try out or trade for, he will be one of the first people to get cut. Micheal Bridges and DeAndre Ayton still have been held with extensions. They're not agreeing or even talking for extension right now, which means they most likely will be restricted. Rockets waive Kyrie Thomas. Magic exercise the options on Cole Anthony, RJ Hampton, and Okiki. It makes sense. You have a bunch of guys that's going to get a lot of playing time. You get to see if they develop, if they grown, and what they can do at the NBA level. You know these guys are NBA caliber players, but you have to see what they can really do for you in the future. And why not give them more playing time? You have no Foch, you have no Isaac, you have a lot of young players around them. Why not give your young guys some chances to really show what they can do on the court? If you want to keep them or use them as trades assets, the best thing to do is allow them to play, and they have done that the last couple seasons. Now they should be able to get even more minutes, and we'll see which ones they will keep in the future. But they're on cheap contracts, and they're waivable, and they're tradable players, especially if you want to get another player. You can get at least a second round pick for both of them. So worst case scenario, you get rid of them in the future or sign them to cheap deals. Brad Wanamaker agrees to a camp deal with the Pacers. We'll see if he make it. Sadiq Bey, Killian Hayes, and Isaiah Stewart all was productive. Killian Hayes was a solid defender but struggled offensively. Sadiq Bey was a great glue guy. Still need to perfect that jump shot a little bit more, especially off the dribble and on the three-point shot in the mid-range, but showed progress and really showed that he can compete and be a starting level player at best in the NBA, which is a good pick where they got him from. Same with Isaiah Stewart, showed that he can be a productive player in this league. You get a quality player at the spot that they got him at. That's something that you want. The Suns unwilling to max Aiden. Like I said, that contract has been held. The Sixers waive Haywood Smith. Haywood Highsmith. Nate agreed to camp deal with the Spurs. He might not make it. Most likely he'll get cut. Blazers exercise option on Nasir Little. I think that's interesting because I don't really see him getting significant playing time or being a big piece of what they're trying to do, as he still struggles to score and he's not a great defender and he really doesn't impact the game on any level and really will barely be able to crack real minutes on a real playoff team. So it's going to be interesting to see if they're going to give him an extension or will they just continue, to let him play out and see what they can be one more year. That's going to be what they're going to try to do. We'll see if he stays on the roster in the future. Um, Pistons wave. I don't want to butcher his name. And Jared Cunningham, he's gone. Elijah Bryant re-signs with the Bucks on the camp deal. We'll see if he stays on the roster. James Harden suggests he won't sign an extension with Nets to become free agent. The thing about James Harden, he can make more money if he just wait and just get it next season after this contract is up. So it makes more sense for him not to sign an extension now. I thought that he wouldn't, and it's common sense for him not to do it, especially because he's one of the best players in the league, and he will continue to be that. And now we just have to let him play out the season, see what offer he gets and what he signs. Jazz signed Marquise, Bowden, and Malik Fitz. I don't really see them stand on this roster, but it just gives them depth and some guys that they can try out until they want to find something better. Queen signs a partially guaranteed deal with the Lakers for a camp. Most likely won't make the roster or stay on the roster. Johnny O'Brien signs a camp deal with the Bucks. Most likely won't stay on the roster, but they're just trying out to see what he's at, see where he's at. Kawhi Leonard hopes to come back this season. I don't see it happening if he comes back. He's not going to be that good. He's not going to play at that high of a level, and he will have to come off a bench a little bit to get back in game shape to be able to produce at a high level. It might take him the entire season to be off, coming off from that surgery. Plus, I don't really predict that the Clippers will be that good anyway, making it really no point for Kawhi Leonard to come back if they're not a playoff team and they're not going to be that dangerous, and they won't be because Kawhi Leonard won't be 100%, he might as well just sit out the season and try to get a good start for next season. The injury came out of nowhere. It's not like he did it on purpose. Micheal Porter Jr. is the big news. He agrees to a 5-year, $172 million extension with the ability to make $200 million if he makes an All-NBA team. The question with this is, will Micheal Porter Jr. be an All-NBA player? I just don't see it. This deal makes sense because he is a guy with upside. He has produced. He fits in the system. He plays well. Still need to improve offensively. Still need to improve defensively. Has scares health-wise. But you know what he's capable of. You know that he has gotten better. And you know that he can hit the threes, make some shots, and really be a matchup nightmare, which he has been. You still want to see that breakout season for him. I still don't see it being this season. Honestly, so I don't predict that he'll be an all-star. I don't predict that he'll be all-NBA this year. A lot of people thought that I have him on my guy that will be most improved. Micheal Porter Jr. numbers are not going to drop that dramatically this season, which means he won't be eligible for most improved player. He will be hopefully better. He will produce at a great level like he has been since he's been a starter. But I just don't see all-star, all-NBA more or less this season. And if Jamal Murray comes back, it's going to be even tougher for him to make those teams unless the Nuggets win like they did when Jamal Murray was healthy and they give him that third spot like we seen with guys like, guys like we seen with the Jeff Teagues and the Kyle Korvers, the Mike Conleys, those type of guys that the team won at a high level to the point where they reward multiple guys outside of the guys like Murray and Jokic. People got to remember Jamal Murray has been a huge part of this team. They have been one of the top 4 teams in the Western Conference for multiple seasons in a row, and Jamal Murray has not even made an all-star team himself, let alone an all-NBA team, and it's just difficult to see Micheal Porter Jr. exceeding that, especially when his health is questionable and he still has a lot more growth and development that he needs to do offensively to hit that level, which he's not honestly there yet. Kyrie Irving will not be getting $186 million extension. I don't really think he cares anyway. He can get a max contract basically from anybody. He's not really treading water. He's not really scared about losing money. He showed that last season. Now he's playing. Hopefully this year they will trade him. Whatever they do, Kyrie Irving is Kyrie Irving. He can do whatever he wants. He's rich. He got generational wealth. He'll be fine. The Thunder signed Rob Edwards and DJ Wilson. We'll see if they continue to stay on this roster. They're solid rotation players, but they are replaceable players, and that's something that we continue to see with these type of guys when it comes to camp deals and roster spots. None of these guys have staying power. They're just guys you pick up until you can find something better. It's unfortunate, but it's the God honest truth. But it is guys like that that do matter until you can find somebody else. You need somebody that can be productive. You need somebody that can give you some type of minutes. And these guys can produce. They just can't produce at a great enough level to sustain consistency in this league on a roster, unfortunately. And the Thunder will claim Diaki, I believe his name is, and they will waive Charlie Brown. This is interesting because I don't really see none of these players being great NBA players, so these guys might not even be on the Thunder roster in the future. Other than that, the Lakers signed Austin Reeves to a 2-year contract. He might produce but not be a part of this team 2 years from now. Amir Coffey signs a 2-year deal with the Clippers. Don't see him having a significant role on the Clippers, honestly and truthfully. The Avery Bradley will win. It was him, Isaiah Thomas, and Quinn Cook. Bradley is the better defender. He does give them some versatility, can come off screens and hit shots. Hasn't really been the same player the last couple years. That's why he was fighting for a roster spot. The Warriors picked a bigger size, a more versatile player, and they have a bunch of guards. I don't see Avery Bradley getting a ton of playing time or having a huge significant role on this team unless somebody goes down. But they just got more depth. So, they got a guy that's actually productive. Langston Galloway was a guy that seemed like he secured a spot in the league, but now he's fighting for a roster spot. Other than that, I pretty much covered the rest of these guys. We see a lot of guys will be continuing to fight for a roster spot just to have a chance to play in the league, to stay in the league, or just be waived again to have another chance to fight for another roster spot. And then you will see a lot of these teams just honestly sign veterans that will fill their roster out by the time the playoffs start. And then a lot of these guys won't even be in the league. They'll just be trying to fight for a spot next off season to hopefully make it to next year. So some of these guys will be out of the league permanently. Some of these guys won't make it to the rest of the year. Some of these guys might make a roster and be gone 2 years from now, like I said, and will not play in the NBA ever again. It's unfortunate, but that's how the game is, especially when you have so much talent at the NBA right now. We don't really see any huge contract extensions outside of Terance Mann, and then you have other guys that we're waiting on. But, those guys are going to get locked up eventually. We just waiting to see how many years, how much money, and exactly where they're going to go. Other than that, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. And I'll see y'all tomorrow, hopefully. Enjoy the night. Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis signing out. Do y'all thing, man.